I feel like this video needs a little bit of an introduction, because this trip was a little bit extra special for me. If you want to skip to the traveling, I totally get it, and please feel free to do so. Alright, first of all, I love making videos about California, my current home. But my dream was always to expand beyond that into international travel. I feel like with the name Travel Crazy Katie, that should be fairly obvious, but I also feel like I'm not living up to the name I chose because guess how long it's been since I planned a trip and left the US? The answer is 7 years. So, I decided to dig my backpack out of hibernation and do something about it. I thought for a long time about where I would like to go and chose Slovenia for a few reasons. First of all, and as you'll see, it's a beautiful country and there are countless reasons why you should visit. The other reason is that I was very close to my maternal grandmother who was Slovenian. I grew up hearing her talk about her heritage and of course helping her cook Slovenian dishes. She was born in the US and never got to visit Slovenia, but a group of women in the town she lived in organized trips there every so often. She would tell me about these trips in a way that was clear she wished she could see the country too. So in a way, I'm doing this for her. With all that said, please enjoy my adventure to Slovenia. Guess who made it to Slovenia? Me. I did it all by myself, and I'm pretty proud. I haven't traveled that far in quite a while, and it was kind of a long day. It was an 11-hour flight from LAX to Zurich, and then about an hour flight from Zurich to Ljubljana. The airport has a public bus station, so I took the bus from the airport to Ljubljana bus station. The last one runs at 8 p.m. and that is the one I ended up taking. It was just under €4, even though the sign said it was supposed to be a little bit more than that. I'm not sure why, but it was a bit more economical than taking a shuttle, but those are also available as well as taxis, I believe. Also, a lot of people that come here rent cars, but I didn't feel like taking that on this time, so maybe in the future, but that's definitely an option for those of us that are a bit more brave. So yeah, I'm actually at my hotel in Ljubljana right now. I thought I'd tell you a little bit about where I'm staying for this part of my trip. I am staying at Hotel Emonek. The cost was around $95 per night, which is somewhere between a higher star hotel and a hostel. It's more of a budget hotel right in the middle, and that's what I was looking for, so that worked out well. It's also in a really great location. It's in the pedestrian zone of the city, very close to Old Town, and I'm within steps from Prešeren Square. I'm trying to think of what else I should tell you about the hotel. Oh, it has breakfast, but it's €5 and it's buffet style, and it's in one of the buildings. I don't know, I haven't gone yet, but maybe one morning. Yeah, no, other than that, I'm happy with my room. It's clean, it's simple, it does its job. For my first full day in Ljubljana, I planned 2 main activities and then left some time to just explore. In the morning, I went on a free 2-hour walking tour of the city, and then in the afternoon, I headed off for a food tour. About that 2-hour free tour I mentioned, I went on the Classic City Tour. There are tours available 365 days a year, and all you have to do is meet the group in front of the church in Prešeren Square. I learned a ton about Ljubljana, and our guide was informative and funny. The tours run on a voluntary tip basis, so at the end, you can pay what you feel is appropriate. I'll leave the link to the tour in the description. Now on to the second tour of the day. I decided to sign up for a food tour with a local company. I'll show you some highlights of the things we got to try while I talk, but I will leave out some dishes and the exact locations we stopped at. That way, I'm not ruining the surprise for anyone. I went on the Ljubljana Essentials Tour, which was a 3.5-hour tour and included a variety of food ranging from modern to traditional Slovenian cuisine, as well as wine, craft beer, and even dessert. Our guide was very knowledgeable about the food we were enjoying and also included information about the history of Slovenia and Ljubljana as we walked. I highly recommend this tour. I got to try so many things I wouldn't have otherwise. And don't worry, you won't leave hungry. The portions at each stop were very generous. Our guide mentioned that each tour is a little bit different, and the food also varies based on the time of year. I'll leave the link to this tour in the description as well. Good morning! It's my second day here in beautiful Ljubljana, Slovenia, and I have a lot of things I want to explore. I got up bright and early this morning, and I was happy to see the sun shining. It was pretty rainy my first day yesterday. My first stop of the day today is the beautiful Tivoli Park, which is the largest park in the city. It's a great place to take a walk and get away from the hustle and bustle of the city. There's all sorts of green and trees and walking paths. There's a pond. A swan just flew by behind me. Kind of startled me, but yeah, unfortunately I'll only be able to see a fraction of it, but it was a great way to start the morning. I've walked back into the heart of downtown or Old Town Ljubljana, and I'm here at Prešeren Square. There's quite a few different things to see here. One of the most popular is the iconic pink church in front of me. But first, let me tell you why it's named Prešeren Square. It's named after Franz Prešeren, who was a poet very important to the country of Slovenia. I'll tell you more about him in a minute when we go check out his statue. As for the pink church, it's actually the Franciscan Church of the Annunciation, and it was originally red, but over the years it faded to pink, and it's kind of stayed that way ever since. Here is the statue of Franz Prešeren. The woman on top of the statue is his muse. Prešeren is considered to be Slovenia's national poet. He was a romantic poet, and he wrote a lot about a woman named Julia, who he loved, but she ended up marrying someone else, so they were never together. It's kind of a sad story. Also, one of his poems, The Toast, as translated in English, made it into Slovenia's national anthem. Another landmark in Prešeren Square is the Triple Bridge. I'm standing in the middle of it right now. There's a whole separate bridge to the right and left of this one. The original intent was that this middle one would be for traffic. Of course, that was before they made this a pedestrian-only zone. The design of the Triple Bridge that you see today is thanks to Jože Plečnik, Slovenia's national architect. He's responsible for designing or redesigning quite a few different buildings and bridges throughout the city. I'll be sure to point out a few more. The long building with lots of columns in front of me is another design by Plečnik. It's meant to be the covered part of the central market. As you can see today, there's lots of people selling different handmade goods, souvenirs, even honey. And as you go down further this way, you can see the part that sticks out there with even more columns has a lot of restaurants and cafes in it. There's actually still a fish market down below it as well. As you continue walking along the river, you will end up at the open-air part of the central market. Every day, from Monday to Saturday, there's a farmer's market here where you can find fresh fruit, vegetables, plants, and more. Here's something I saw at the market that I thought was really cool. This is a milk vending machine. You can purchase a bottle right there or bring your own and get fresh milk 24 hours a day. There was an egg vending machine nearby as well. Here we have another well-known bridge which is right next to the open-air market, the Butcher's Bridge. The Butcher's Bridge was opened in 2010, although Plečnik had proposed putting a bridge in this location in the 1930s. In addition to the love locks, this bridge is also full of art. There are many interesting sculptures and statues created by an artist whose name I will put on the screen right now so that I don't mess up the pronunciation. And if we're talking about well-known bridges, we certainly can't leave out the Dragon Bridge. The Dragon Bridge was built in the early 20th century and has 4 large statues as well as smaller dragons on the lights along the sides. There are 20 in total. Why dragons? The dragon is the symbol of Ljubljana. According to legend, the hero of Greek mythology Jason fought and defeated a dragon near the source of the Ljubljanica River. The dragon symbol has since become known as more of a symbolic protector of the city rather than a monster, and is even on the city coat of arms. Now that we've done some exploring and seen the central market, I'm going to take a quick look at the building behind me, St. Nicholas Cathedral, make a quick stop back at the hotel, and then it's on to the last stop of the day, Ljubljana Castle. Well, last stop of the day before I find something to eat anyway. This is St. Nicholas Cathedral. It's a really pretty building, but I hear it's even more gorgeous on the inside. You can visit for €3 as long as Mass is not going on. And there's one other special thing I want to show you about this building. There has been a church in this location since the 13th century, but the building that is here today was built in the early 18th century. The special thing that I wanted to show you is that the church has 2 ornate bronze doors that were added in 1996 when Pope John Paul II visited the cathedral. The main entrance door has a relief that depicts Slovene history. The other door has portraits of 6 bishops. I decided that I really wanted to see what the inside looked like, so I checked to see if it was open. It was, and I went in. I was so glad I did. It was beautiful. So I'm on my way up to the castle right now, and there are 2 ways you can get up here. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. It's pretty steep. There's a funicular, and I'm not sure the cost, but I will look it up. Or, if you're stubborn like me, you walk. There are a couple of ways you can walk up to the castle. I just followed what Google Maps told me. There are also signs every so often, so it's easy to tell if you're going the right way. Since I just mentioned the funicular, I'll show you that option as well. The entrance is near the central market. At the time of my visit, the cost was €6 round trip for adults and $4.50 for children. And I'm already there. It's actually not that long of a walk, it's just really steep in one portion, and I have a speed walking problem, but if you take it slow, you'll be fine. Or you could take the funicular. It's your choice. You can visit the castle and walk around for free. Or you can pay for a ticket and get access to a few museums, exhibitions, and the observation tower. You can also purchase an audio guide if you'd like. I wasn't sure if I wanted to pay for the extra exhibits when I went. I decided to walk around a bit first before deciding. There was a large event going on when I walked in, which was full of well-dressed people. I was a little bit unsure where I was allowed to go without accidentally wandering into the event. There were a few smaller free exhibits that I explored, showcasing castle weapons and prison cells. Of course, there were also some gorgeous views of the city. I decided to skip the extra paid exhibits, but if you go, I would recommend checking out the castle website and deciding for yourself what you'd like to see. Additionally, there's a wine bar and a few restaurants in the castle. One of them even has a Michelin star. It's my new goal to come back here and eat there in the future. After checking out the castle and walking around the grounds, I took a different path back down to the city so I could find some dinner. I decided to go to Klobasarna for some traditional Slovenian dishes. I had ricet, which is a barley and bean stew, and carniol and sausage, or kranjska klobasa. Everything was absolutely delicious and much needed after all the miles I walked that day. The prices were very reasonable as well. On my way back to the hotel, I also decided to stop for some ice cream at Vigo. It was so good that I ended up back there a few times on my trip. I'm not leaving Ljubljana quite yet, but I want to keep this video a reasonable length. So make sure you keep an eye out for part 2. I've got an exciting day trip planned and I'm gonna check out a popular street food market. See you in the next video!